Welcome back after hearing from our sponsors and from some of the candidates who have been talking about where they stand and what they expect from their constituencies. We welcome you once again, and we now hope that before the top of the hour, at 2200 hours, the IEC would have been with us. I'm sure everybody must have broken the fast by now. And if nothing is to be done, that should also be over before the hour 10 o'clock. But we still are waiting for the Independent Electoral Commission to give us the first sets of results, the official ones, by the way, because the grapevine, we are hearing stories from the grapevines which we cannot take as official, and we will not even divulge or entertain announcing those unofficial results. But believe in me, what we are hearing is worth it's worth our eyebrows. Anyway, but not regardless of that, we were looking at the possibility of a two-third majority, and we have been able to count the constituencies per region. For example, in the Bassa administrative area, there are 7 constituencies. In Janjambure, there are 11. In Kerewan, there are 7 constituencies. In Mansakonko, there are 6. In Brikama, there are 12. In Kanifi municipal area, there are 7. And in Banjul, there are 3, making it 53 seats. And remember that the president has 5 nominated members.
Absolutely.
But these nominated members are not there to follow the whims and caprices of what the president may say, regardless of the fact that he has nominated them. Yeah. These are people who are chosen by a set criteria. Some of them will have to represent the disabled. Some of them, the issue of gender is going to be there. But we should be grateful that we have 18 female candidates. Gentlemen, let us look at the woman's card.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. From what I was able to gather, the UDP has been able to file about 7, if not 8, female candidates. I think they top the list. They've got 2, 4, 6, 7.
Yes.
They have Serekunda, Sanementareng, Janjambure, Lower Salom, Sabah Sanjal, and Wuli West.
They did very well.
They did very well. What does that tell you?
There are different ways, looking at this gender issue. I think UDP will want to, project themselves as being the most gender-sensitive party, and yes, they have manifested that, putting up women candidate, across the length and breadth of the country. And looking at, I would have thought you will put women candidate in the greater Banjul where the literacy is high, but even at Lower Salom. So this is telling you that I think UDP is breaking the barriers. They are getting out there, they're believing in whatever they believe in, and they just stick to that. So that is one other issue I like about UDP. But coming to having women in parliament, this will be very, very interesting. The last parliament, I'm not sure, but I think we had 4, I mean the elected one, not the nominated one.
Okay.
Let's remember the nominated one, where the Yakumba Jaite, and the other one was, I'm not sure whether she was representing the disabled, the differently able people. And of course, our speaker was also a woman. Let's remember that. So you had the president nominate out of the 5 nominated member opportunity, which is given to him by the Constitution of the Gambia. He nominated 3 women out of the 5 nominated members. So I think he did very, very well. But coming back to your statement here, UDP put up more women candidates than any other party, including NPP. So we give it to them. But whether the electorate, will send these people to parliament is something we are going to closely watch this night. But also, Mali,
Hello, good evening, everyone. IEC, and this is elections 2022, the National Assembly. So the chairman would shortly he would do the statement for some of the constituencies. And before that, I would like to welcome you all to the IEC, to the Elections House, and also to this August gathering. The chairman will be taking us to the results as they trickle in. So right now, he'll just do the ones that are available for now. On that note, I would like to welcome the chairman to make the announcements. Welcome, chairman.
Thank you, Pa. I'm good to you all. I, Ali Umar Njai, Chairman of the Independent Commission, give notice that the total number of votes given to each candidate in the Assembly elections of 9 April 2022 for Jajambure constituency is as follows. Ibrahim M. Sajo, NPP, 345 votes, 345. JRI, Franka, UDP, 236 votes. Ibrahim Travale, Independent, 177 votes, 177. Omar Jame, Independent, 359 votes, 359. There were no invalid votes. The results were certified by Ahmad for the Janyamburi administrative area. The results were witnessed and endorsed by Alkali Fanka Conte, NPP, agent for NPP, Dr. Demba Sabali, agent for NPP, Mamadou B. Sar, agent for UDP. Having received the highest number of votes in the Janyambure constituency in the National Assembly elections of 9 April 2022, Omar Jame has been duly elected as member of the National Assembly for Janyambure constituency in the Janyambure administrative area.
Janjambure constituency, and they are as follows. Ibrahim A. Sajo, NPP, 345 votes. Jarai Fayinke, UDP, 236 votes. Ibrahim B. Trawale, Independent, 177 votes. And Omar Jame, Independent, 359 votes. There were no invalid votes. The results were certified by Ahmadu Tal, returning officer in the Janjambure administrative area. These results were witnessed and endorsed by Alkali Fanka Conte, agent for NPP, Dr. Demba Sabali, agent for NPP, and Mamoru O.A. Sar, agent for UDP. And it was signed by the chairman, IEC Alaji Omar Njai.
Another result, I, Ali Umar Njai, Chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, hereby give notice that the total number of votes given to each candidate in the Assembly elections of 9 April 2022 for Kiang East constituency is as follows. Lamin Sane, NPP, 1,534 votes. UDP, 1,000.
UDP, Jadama, returning officer in the Mansa Congo area administrative area. And NPP agent, Dr. Demba Sabali agent for NPP, and Mamadou D.A. Sar agent for UDP, have received the highest number of votes in Kiang East constituency in the National Assembly elections of 9th April 2022. Yahya Gazama has been duly elected as member of the National Assembly for Kiang East constituency in the Mansa Congo administrative area. Signed, Ali Momar Njai, Chairman IEC.
Okay, thank you very much. For now, that's what we have. So we'll announce as results are trickling in. Thank you so much for now.
Thank you.
I guess we were able to receive two results, if we are not very wrong, because there was a time when we had some interruptions there. But from what we understand, Janjambure, Omar Jame, independent candidate, is the winner of the constituency with 359 votes, and in Kiang East, Yahya Gazama of the United Democratic Party. Gentlemen, we can cross-check on these two constituencies as of last year, as of the last elections, and see what we have there. Very quickly, National Assembly elections. Kiang Janjambure is where we're going to.
Yeah.
Janjambure, yeah.
Yeah, Janjambure. In 2017.
Yes, I think
Janjambure in 2017 was a UDP.
Janjambure was won by UDP.
UDP won.
Somebody called Mamadou Sise. Yes, yeah. I think he won by 49%, Sarah.
Yeah, 49%. Yeah.
And the votes he had then was the 474.
Yeah.
Now they're saying NPP winning the seat, and they are having 345, meaning the winner have dropped
not NPP, an independent candidate.
An independent, yes, sorry.
Yeah, an independent
NPP
candidate.
They have
yes, exactly. An independent candidate.
So it's won by the independent by 359.
Yeah.
But the person who won last time won by 479. Decline on the vote. But the other issue also, Sarah, to look at is, I think during the last election, it was contested by 5 people.
5.
So this time is 4. So meaning the field have been reduced to 4 people instead of 5 people.
Yeah.
But let's remember the famous Keba Yoromane came from the same place where he had 2 votes last election, and people were asking, how can somebody have 2 votes? You know, so that was a critical issue we discussed last year. But coming this year now, we have an independent.
Yeah, and even looking at the number of votes last year, it was a total of 961 votes.
Yeah.
Malik, how much do you total? 1,117 this time around.
So meaning there is an increment in the votes,
exactly.
But of course there is a decline.
There's a decline
in the voter turnout. Tally. So exactly. There is the sharing of the votes in the middle.
Yeah.
But another important thing also is last time we had, you remember, the GDC was in play, and GDC is missing in action here. So you will see a lot of shift happening here and there.
Yeah, some have shifted allegiance
to other parties.
Exactly, to other
and
parties.
APRC, this was just post-Jame. You remember that last year.
Yeah.
Still now, APRC was trying to prove relevant in the country.
Exactly.
So they had 349. This time around, there's no APRC, there's no GDC. But there are 2 independent candidate. So you will see there is a shift in the political landscape as we progress. When it comes to, there are more independent candidates coming on board, but of course the winning margin is also narrowing down.
Yeah, I think it will be surprising. We've been surprised, let's say, the NPP that they have not won in Janjambore. You know, looking at what APRC has scored in Janjambore, because they thought that maybe the margin with APRC, you know, would even give them, you know, more votes in Janjambore. Yeah.
It is strange.
Yeah.
I don't know what must have been responsible for NPP losing out in Janjambore here. I really don't know why. And also, the UDP also put up a candidate here.
Yeah.
Well, UDP has never done well in previous elections in this constituency.
No, this is not their stronghold. So, despite they have did very well, they put up a candidate, and they have 200 and is it 36 votes? 36. So that's not a very, very bad. Looking at this, not their comfort area, you know. But also, I think during the presidential election, it also started with Janjambure. I remember.
We started with Janjambure.
We said, however the election starts, it normally follow the same pattern. Yeah. So meaning both the two big the NPP is not starting with a win. So instead an independent is starting with a win. So would there be any shift like independence now coming up? Would that also mark the NPP not doing very, very well? Because I wouldn't understand why should they lose at the Janjambure. I mean NPP. I could not understand. So like this, the vote, it's less than 2,000 votes. Yeah. And this is parliamentary election, Mr. Camara, for cry out loud. A seat is just a seat in the parliament. Yeah. Why don't you focus a bit on this kind of seats which have limited, a smaller number of people? Yeah. You know, it's easier as a ruling party to win this kind of seat if you focus on field development and if you have your the political strategy right, than a bigger area like Sani Menteren, like Busumbala, like Brikama. So if you start losing here, they might not have a very, very good day. That is not looking good for NPP. It's the same thing we said during the presidential election when UDP did very, very bad. I said, if UDP starts with this, it might be a very, very bad and difficult day for UDP. And I think we were proven right. So I don't know whether we will be proven right this time around by saying NPP might not have a very good night this time around. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I also think one of the factors that we have to look at, you know, is the living cost, you know, of Gambians. It is reflecting in the results in Janjambore, you know, because you have two political parties, you know, in Janjambore, the UDP, and then you also have the NPP. You know, the people in Janjambore, it seems, don't trust, you know, these two political parties, you know, any longer. You know, sometimes you just say 6 and 9, you know, with UDP and NPP. So they rather trust, you know, an independent candidate because looking at the, you know, living costs, you know, if at all that, as I said, it was then in the presidential elections, you know, we would have seen, you know, NPP pull, you know, a huge margin there. But now, post-election, you know, the things that are happening on the ground, the trust that people, you know, are losing, you know, from the ruling party is reflecting on the results in Janjambore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think I was just trying to count the number of independent candidates we have.
Yeah.
The number is astronomical. It's way beyond 80 independent candidates. You know, and I find that relatively outside the main party politics. There are candidates that are coming. I would not be surprised if the independents don't do very well this time round. Looking at the number of independents we have.
Yeah, because my take on that would be, let's put it this way. NPP have their base. UDP have their base. Okay? So the independent are vying for the independent people, the people who have not make up their mind which way to go to. Yeah. So if the more independent you have, the more you divide the rest of the votes. So it would have been easier to have one independent who will unite the rest of the voters and, trying to convince them. So then, but the more independent you have, the less likelihood that the independent will have a very, very big impact in these results. But also, Malik, it's interesting. I was trying to add the number of candidates. But if my mathematics is right, yeah, 252 I have. Maybe I could be wrong here, but by one. So let's put it even to 251, vying for 53 seats. So that's a huge number. That's a huge number. So it's also showing how contested these seats are. Whoever think that you are incumbent, you're going to have it very easy. I think you have underestimated the people or underrated me. People are taking these elections very, very seriously. So maybe this could also teach whoever a very good lesson to whoever wins this election, whichever seat, to understand next 5 years is either I perform extremely well or I am going to have a very difficult re-election bid come 2027. So this could be a very, very interesting benchmark for them.
We said it here before that we don't think whether a lot of them will not come back, will not go back to the National Assembly, because what you have already, achieved, what you have already done, during the 5 years. So people right now are going to measure up, whether this particular person has really performed well in this, during his tenure, during his 5 years. So if you're not performing well, people would lose trust. And if they don't trust you, they will not even trust your political party. Absolutely. So they would rather, sift to another, candidate or to another independent candidate, and I think that's what we are seeing right now.
Yeah, I think maybe also would you attribute that, Sarah, to people's maturity in politics?
Yeah,
you understand, because you remember maybe this one Malik will be more comfortable talking about this during the Jawara time. Where people believe in nyundunde we di bour, ntol buka mansa so. Whoever wins the presidential election carries, the winner carry everything, both the parliamentary, and we saw that also happening with the APRC during the Jammeh time.
Exactly.
But now things are changing, and a very, very a good example, even if you understand the U.S. politics very well, many a time if the Democrats win this time around, the Republicans win. I mean the Senate and the Congress, So this coming election might be also very interesting in the U.S. The reason why I'm bringing like many a time now, people are copying, I mean the government, more to the Western type of politics. Let's remember the 10 years, whoever told you that there will be the political debates. People selling their agenda on the media, having town hall, the debates being organized for people. Yeah. It never happened. Yeah. People used to go to the grassroots and appeal to people. But even the mindset, the way of politicking is changing.
It's changing,
so I think people should start understanding that whoever is thinking of having a lifelong career in politics should also be up to the game. So it cannot be business as usual and expecting to have a high unless if people are indoctrinated. You remember the people will say, Wuli belong to CDA. We said we will also watch that keenly. Serekunda belong to Halifa Sallah. You remember when Dembo by force used to own Bakau. You dare not contest Bakau. People contest, but it was like just testing the waters. But he will surely win.
Yeah,
but it's changing now. Politics is changing.
Let me take you to a constituency that the UDP has won, and that is Kiang East. The guy called Yaya Dasana winning the constituency, I think with 1,534 votes, if I'm right. Yes, Yaya Dasana, Kiang East. That is strong.
I think he is the incumbent. Yes, So he was there, so he retained his seat. And
exactly.
Yeah. The only difference here is he is not fighting with the GDC,
Yeah,
but
then
NPP.
it was GDC, yeah.
You remember, Sarah, the last time it was him with GDC battling it out.
Yeah, Usman An.
Usman An, yes.
Yeah.
So he had 76% and Usman An had 24%.
24%, yeah.
But this time around, it is NPP. I don't know, this is a close percentage. He have, is it 1,935? I'm not sure because the feedback was not good.
1,534, I think, if I'm right.
No, that's the NPP guy. He had 1,900 and something. Can we cross check that?
1925. If we are right with the numbers, because we had some
technical problems. But either way, he have retained his seat, but though the gap is very, very small right now, it will be less than 450 votes between the two.
Yeah.
And so,
and I also think, looking at the, I think maybe we have more voter turnout this time around there, because in 2017 we have 2,298, people voted, and he pulled 1,740 to GDC 558. So you see the gap there.
You should also remember that this in 2017.
Yep.
It was our battle.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
It was UDP. We will not call it coalition then. Coalition was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
Before the National Assembly elections. So this was UDP and Barrow all together in their own coalition world. Their own coalition world, which sort of departed from the actual coalition that was written way back at the Caraba Beach Hotel.
Absolutely.
So GDC was the only contestant in this area. But now that there's this rift and this division between the UDP and NPP, the emergence of NPP and the other candidates that have already want to vie in, it makes it a bit difficult now. But then it is a stronghold of the United Democratic Party.
Absolutely.
And Yahya Gassama has proven to be a stalwart in that area, in Kiang East, where he won. Now, will this happen in the other side of the Kiang? That's Kiang West. When the results come in, what are we expected to see?
That would be interesting place to have to focus on. And one thing I was trying to check, the internet is not doing very well. The presidential election, this past presidential election, because it will be interesting also to see how much UDP managed to pull and how much the NPP. So we will understand if UDP, has UDP really improved, or the NPP have really done very, very bad, because we have to analyze it from two perspectives.
Okay.
Perspective number one would be the last the parliamentary election, which he won. He just retained his seat comfortably. Okay, not comfortably, slightly. Last election was comfortably because he have 76%.
Exactly.
But this time around, the percentage have strings. But let's look at the presidential. What happened? How much did Barrow pull in Kiang East, and how much did Dabo pull in Kiang East? This will be also something very, very interesting.
The UDP have changed their candidate for Kiang West.
Okay.
Now they have one Lamin Sise, as opposed to the Fakeba Koli, who won the seat for UDP back in 2017. So we are going to see a re-emergence of another political party, but at the same time, the NPP GFA, that's Bakari Dabo, and an independent are going to contest in this constituency. And remember, this is Bakari Dabo constituency.
Oh, yeah. That is Kiang West.
He comes from Dumbutu, which is in Kiang West. And he's put a candidate in this constituency. We should be mindful of that. This is going to be an interesting area to watch.
Yeah,
That is
but
clear.
Malik, in
Yes.
2017, it seems to be a stronghold for the UDP.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You
because
change the candidate now.
Yeah, we don't know the reason why they changed. Because he really pulled massive votes, 3,747 to GDC 730 votes.
But remember, it was
Yeah.
GDC alone.
GDC alone, yes, exactly.
GDC could
Yeah.
easily massacre in that area. Remember one thing,
Yeah,
the tribal element
exactly. Yeah.
did play a part.
Yeah, they play a part.
They play a part in Kiang.
And also the element of Barrow, because then he went around and then he was campaigning, and then he asked people, to vote for UDP candidates. There was that effect also.
Now this time round, Barrow has put electricity in Kiang.
Oh yeah, the famous the electrification of Kiang.
Now will that impact on the people of Kiang?
Hardcore.
Huh?
That would be a hard.
That will show whether the people of Kiang are really, well, one of the Kiang's gone to the UDP anyway.
Yes.
And they are all enjoying the electricity, by the way. So as a matter of fact, will the other Kiang say, no, Mr. President, those guys are when they're away. We're with you. We're going to stick with you.
I think one good thing about those are the Janus days. If you don't do for me,
I will not do for you.
So it used to be, you vote for me, you enjoy the development programs. You vote for me.
So if the two Kiangs vote for the UDP, that means they're not appreciative of the president's electrification program in Kiang.
Yeah, Malik, I think the Kiangs have been very stronghold for UDP because you look at Kiang East, you look at Kiang Central, you can look at Kiang West. It's all UDP. So it's going to be very difficult. These are hardcore, followers of the United Democratic Party. So it's going to be very difficult, for once to convince them, just for me bringing them, rural electrification. It will take more than that, to defeat UDP, in Kiang. Exactly in Kiang. Yeah.
All right. You share Sarah's thoughts as well?
Yes, actually, in politics, people have their base.
Yeah.
I remember before the last presidential election, many people will ask, where is President Barrow's base? Because he has no base. He's a new kid in the block when it comes to politics. I mean, it was his first time, as a party to contest and to test the water. So people were asking. As Sarah said, the UDP used to, and I think now from today, this election, we will know whether they are still retaining their grassroots base. And remember, Bakau used to be, and I believe is still UDP backyard. The Kiangs and Badibu. Of course, during the last presidential election, we saw a lot of changes in the political demographic. But would that be sustainable? Would NPP be able to sustain that over the time? We will wait and see. But if they cannot, or they are not in a position, or they are unable to retain their new political
grounds, okay.
Grounds, they won a lot of grounds. If they are unable to maintain them, then NPP is in trouble. So I hope they will be able to, but I will agree with Sarah that Kiang used to be, and I believe it's always UDP, and it used to be Kiang and Badibu and Bakau.
So far from what we have one seat going to an independent and one seat going to the UDP.
Yeah. So far, nothing for NPP.
So far, nothing for NPP.
Not a good signal for NPP, honestly.
And we're talking about President Barrow has emphasized that he needs a National Assembly majority that will support his development plans. If President Barrow doesn't make 2/3 of the National Assembly, he is in trouble.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every president needs a majority or 2/3 majority in parliament so that you can get your every time, and people, a lot of things, factors. So it had less to do with the parliament, but more to do with the people themselves.
Yeah.
Let's remember, I said to somebody, it was the Gambian people who decided to move Yahya Jammeh out, but it was not Barrow and his tactical alliance whatsoever they call themselves. You remember when Gambian people used to say, so len ñu indil sa ñun dinañ ko vote. So that have nothing to do with you people deployed here. It have more to do with the Gambians wanting a change.
Yeah.
So it was the Gambian who thought at some point retaining Barrow was better for them than having UDP, and most Gambian felt, at those times some people said they were uncomfortable with UDP. We had all that stories here.
Yeah.
So if Barrow had that, as we were hearing that, he could have understand the Gambian people were behind me. They wanted to stop UDP, one reason or the other. I don't know the reasons, but they want changes. You needed to change instantly. And so to the Gambian people, you want me to change? I'm changing. You want me to deliver? I'm delivering.
And he refused to change. And he refused to change the cabinet.
He was talking about caretaker government.
Exactly. And
as the Gambian voted for,
I think that caretaker government was not welcoming. Gambians, were left disappointed. They thought that, they were expecting new cabinet, looking at the corruption scandals, happening.
Absolutely.
In various departments. Gambians were really surprised that he still maintained the same people.
And the other thing is, when you win a new mandate, what is your foreign policy? Okay, he needed some expert around him to define all these things for him. Whatever his policies were, then he would have revamped his cabinet. If his new foreign policy is looking towards the east or the west, then even your foreign, your foreign policy approach, the people you even hire in your embassies, are they the right people there? Are you looking towards the west or the east? There needed to be a lot of movement here and there. Yeah. Then the Gambian will say, I think the president means business. Let's give him time. He is swapping, he is doing a lot of movement. What are his economic policies? People agree there where prices are going up. You understand. There were a time sugar was limited, the electricity was not going very well. What are you doing about it?
Yeah, looking at the national, looking at independence, I think it was economic independence. That was the theme, of our independence. But yet again, little does the message, centered on the economic, impact of this country. There again, it left Gambians, wondering what is happening. When is he going to, address our issues? So I think this is what is happening, because we also seen somebody who is also following us on the Facebook saying that Malik, the electricity in Kiang is their constitutional right.
Absolutely.
Constitutional right.
Absolutely.
So this should not, tire them into giving their votes to Barrow.
Okay. Yeah. I agree.
Exactly.
100% with them.
Yes.
I agree 100% with them. Because, who doesn't need electricity?
Yeah. Of course. And they are paying tax. So it's their constitutional right.
It is.
That's straight. And moving forward, we have a lot of things. And you remember, there were a lot of gaffes that happened, and people just laugh about it. Sometimes when you say, they say, you understand? So as leadership of country, I thought he needed to assert his authority. He needed to say a lot of things. And I think he had all the opportunities to correct it. He decided not. He said he was comfortable with the people around him. And I think the Gambian people, we will see whether the Gambian people are comfortable with the people around him. This will send a signal on what type of Gambia we need moving forward. If they have a very strong and robust parliament, that means we need to create a lot of check and balances for the government. Every step of the way, the Gambian people want to know what the president have in mind, what kind of programs he have. So, to your question, now he don't have a choice. He have to change his and inject a lot of, I believe, new blood in the executive, and of course, as he said when he was it in Woolley? He said, Sidi Jata, he said, have done a lot for the country. He's an old person. He needs to retire. But the president also have to retire a lot of people in this country, in his government, in his administrator. He needs to give, put a lot of energy, a lot of fresh blood, vibrant people, save even his foreign policy team.
But are we going to see that?
Are we
going to see
that?
Are
we seeing a Barrow government that people are just there just to make their own ends meet?
Then if he think this is how it works. At some point he thought, because he had this the landslide victory, okay, Gambians are cool with me, I am here for the next 5 years, okay, give me the parliament I need. Gambian told him no, and with all the indications now, Gambian might say no, that's not how you're going to run it. You have to listen to us. Then he will be forced to listen to them. If he didn't listen again, let's remember next 10 months or 11 months time, there is another election coming, which is called the local government elections. And the local government election is also the most technical one, because that deals with people's day-to-day life, the grassroots. Those are the councillors, those are the mayors, those are the chairmen. So what is going to happen then?
The councillors in the wards.
In the wards. That's you, the president.
Nitty-gritty.
That's where you want your development agenda to go to.
And resonate.
They resonate. That's where your electorates are. Those are the people you want to talk to. So which way are they going to? So no president or no government will want to get it wrong there. You want to get it right. If not, if your council are taken by the opposition or the independent, then you might have a very, very difficult 5 years.
All right, gentlemen, let me ask you one question. Now, if President Barrow fails to have a two-thirds majority, will that signal his demise in the next 5 years when we're running for another presidential elections?
Yeah, of course, it will. In fact, signals have been sending. People have started sending, signals. Looking at the complaints that they make, looking at the expectancy they expect, from the Barrow. Some have even went to the extent of saying it's going to be very difficult for Barrow to choose over a new cabinet, simply because if you look at the people that has come and marched with Barrow, Barrow is an individual person who want to satisfy people who help him achieve this victory, and we all know that he's in alliance with the APRC, and a lot of independent candidates have also come in alliance with him, so the alliance is that much big, and then he tried to satisfy each and every person, so and that will really kill his efforts, because right now with people looking at the next 5 years, they reflect back at what happened, and now they're already giving him another mandate. This is a do or die for him, so if he's not careful, it will be very difficult for him to get another 5 years from the Gambian. But also looking at the National Assembly election, this will send a strong signal to him right now.
All right. Yep. We have to welcome our colleague Kausu. Kausu has been also monitoring the situation as it is. Kausu, we've just got two results from Janjambure and Kiang East, and we have not seen any emergence of out of these two victories, nothing for the ruling party, the NPP. We only have an independent, Omar Jaju, for Omar Jame rather, for Janjambure, and in Kiang East, UDP.
Thank you very much, Malik. Good evening.
You're making me grow older, by the way. Call me Malik.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, Janjambure is always the first place where we expect results to emerge as a result of the size of the constituency by voter, but also by land size. But generally, what the basic, based on the current results, like you said, MPP is yet to win in any of the two constituencies. But to me, it's also not a very big surprise. The reason is when it comes to Omar Jame, alias Jato, This is his second term he is aspiring for, but at one point in time you tend to realize that he is the people's choice. And to me, this is one of the issues that political parties need to put into consideration. It doesn't, if you really want to get representative under your ticket, sometimes it doesn't matter if these people are part of your political party or not. You need to go to the community and look at the people's choice, and then you put up the people's choice as a candidate. If not, it will be difficult. And Uncle Malik, don't be surprised that we will be seeing a lot of independents in the National Assembly compared to the previous National Assemblies.
Yeah, we're trying to make a count, and we think that the independents have run into something over 80 independent candidates vying for a place in the National Assembly. And don't forget, the Fonyis are infested with independent candidates. From which side, I don't know they're coming from. But that is interesting to see, because Fonyi was an APRC base. This is all the Fonyis are. But then we're seeing independence coming up in Fonyi. Tells us something that maybe is still shrouded. We will have to see whether when those independents start to win, then we'll start to unlock the door and peep in and see what's going on.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
I think that's an interesting area. Who do you call an independent in Fonyi? Let's remember, we had this the Fonyi of Yaya Jammeh and Fonyi of Fabakary Tombonjata. You remember that?
Absolutely.
So the Fonyi of I wanted to say APRC of Fabakary Tombo and the APRC of Yaya Jammeh. The APRC of the Fabakary Tombonjata was the one recognized by the IEC. The other one, they call themselves the No to Alliance. Yeah. So it seems that No to Alliance, because they are not recognized, so they call themselves independent for this election.
Very well.
So it is them now being independent who are challenging the APRC. So it's like the APRC is divided into two. This APRC challenging the other APRC. The not recognized challenging the recognized one. So the recognized one is the one which is incumbent. Those are the people who had this alliance with NPP. This is where Amul Nyasi is, where Kamara is, where Sunkaru Bajwi is, and all the other honorables. So you have these people now being sponsored by the No to Alliance challenging this bill. So it will be interesting to see, though we might have them as independent on the ballot box, but of course they are the one who are at the other side of fighting with the APRC.
Yeah, and I think it's infested. Fonyi is infested with independents, because
they even have a woman independent candidate.
Yeah, looking at Fonyi Jarol alone, you only have APRC and UDP, and all the 5 candidates are independent candidates.
Let's see where Amul Nyasi should be. Yeah. He should be in Kansala.
Kansala.
Yes.
Now, what is his status there? Is he surrounded by?
Amul Nyasi is surrounded by 3 independents and GDC. Yeah. So
it's
going to be very difficult.
Yeah. Well, life is going to be difficult for Amul.
I think Amul Nyasi will have very, very, very difficult time. And what I mean difficult is now that is the bad case of Yaya Jammeh, the former president.
The 3 candidates, the 3 independent candidates could be fighting him all at one go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's my point.
Yes.
That's my point.
All right. Let's try to fight him in 3 different angles.
That's my point.
We are the same, but let's fight him from 3 angles.
Let's make life so difficult.
The moment we have too many independent candidates, that might give an edge for the incumbent. Considering the Fonyis, very well, I want to believe that other political parties apart from the APRC might not have a very strong support there.
Let's look at the voter registration in Fonyi Kansala. Last time round, registered voters for Fonyi Kansala.
Last time around Fonyi Kansala, I think it was only 2 candidates.
Yeah.
You have Musa Mulnyasi for APRC and Usman Mari for independent. Yes, and then Musa Munyasi pull out 4,161 votes. 88%. Compared to the independent candidate 542
So let's say around 5,000 votes for Fonyi Kansala.
Fonyi Kansala last parliamentary election was 4,703 votes. Those were the people who voted. Those who in that vote, Amul Nyase had the 88%, while the independent had 12%. So that was the gap. As he said, it was just two people.
Now there are.
Now you have
4 people.
Yes.
Now you have more than
two political parties.
Three independent, 2 political parties.
So now you have people. Okay. And so that is going to be more difficult. Now you have +3.
Heads up for the independent winning there.
So it will be.
Heads up for independent winning.
How about GDC?
But GDC can't win in Fonyi.
No, what GDC those records during GDC those records during the presidential, because the No to Alliance was behind the GDC. This time around, the No to Alliance puts up a candidate as well as the GDC puts up a candidate.
So what happened to the marriage?
Well, but I mean,
I think they're all up in arms against incumbent. This is what I want to know.
But for GDC, they made a communique that marriage was for the presidential election and not for the National Assembly. However, one of the candidates for GDC in Joshua constituency said he knew very well that the breakaway is behind him. So tactically, they might not put up candidates in other areas, but that would also not deprive them from putting up candidates in other areas.
All right,
not like what is we are seeing with the MPP marriage.
All right. All right, we'll take another break, and when we come back, maybe the IC will also come back. We'll hear from our sponsors. Don't you go away. There's a StarTV on radio, on Facebook, and online.
Musa.
Na.
Mbona talanga na maso.
Ai kada maso.
Ade faso.
Ayo. Do ni mutu.
Musa bari ati sila de.
Kema fulani sila munani.
Tulo bantale mano banda.
Bari man sene so funde ni mano bande sa fonye.
Kilo le bota.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam ba.
Bare.
Wa ko do kiyena ne yuna ya mo.
Min to yona.
Africa Global brings you state-of-the-art commercial and retail spaces available for rent at Madiba Mall, located at the Bruford Gardens Estate. Our commercial spaces comes with facilities such as 24-hour security, standby backup generator, air conditioning, shared conference room, and personal cash pour meters. If you are looking for a spacious and suitable business environment, look no further. Madiba Mall retail and commercial spaces are just what you need. Ocean view office spaces with limited availability. Call us today and secure a space. For more information, contact 733-3363 or 594-1053 or email at info@tapafricaglobal.com.
Are you looking for Islamic insurance? Visit or contact Islamic products whilst promoting transparency and fairness.
We at West Africa Takaful are wishing you a beloved nation Ramadan Mubarak.
West Africa Takaful, truly Islamic.
Okay, Fatu, Nila may $100 sabihin, nila appreciate for coming, and like we could municipal has like 10,000 above, nega Western Union, MoneyGram, we are a small world, then they make the next $100 that they make. Depends on the amount you receive, depending on 100,000 from 10,000 above. So appreciate that, thank you for coming. You never credit by that.
Wow, you know better than that. Di daal dafa mel ni lu ñu nekk di gis ci Facebook bi ak Instagram yëpp dëgg la di daal lu ñu gis moom fu mu nekk nii moom suma xarit yi suma famille yëpp fii laa yegg ñu ngi si xaalis rek ok noonu la waaw ok baax na jërëjëf.
Na.
Mpana talanga kama so.
Ay kada marso.
Ade paso.
Ayo. Do ni mutu.
Musa bari yin ata sila de.
Kema fula de sila munen.
Tulo bantale mano ba.
Bari man sene so funde ni mano bande sa fanya.
Kilo le bota.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam ba.
TAF Africa Global brings you state-of-the-art commercial and retail spaces available for rent at Madiba Mall, located at the Proofwood Gardens Estate. Our commercial spaces comes with facilities such as 24-hour security, standby backup generator, air conditioning, shared conference room, and personal cash pour meters. If you are looking for a spacious and suitable business environment, look no further. Madiba Mall retail and commercial spaces are just what you need. Ocean View office spaces with limited availability. Call us today and secure a space. For more information, contact 733-3363 or 594-1053 or email at info@tapafricaglobal.com.
Are you looking for Islamic insurance? Visit or contact Islamic products whilst promoting transparency and fairness.
We at West Africa Takaful are wishing you a beloved nation, Ramadan Mubarak.
West Africa Takaful, truly Islamic.
Okay, Fatu, you got my $100 opinion, you got appreciate for coming, and like we could you municipal has like 10,000 above, nega Western Union, MoneyGram, we are a small world, then they make the next $100 that they make. It depends on the amount you see, depending on 100,000 from 10,000 above. So appreciate that, thank you for coming. Do you have a credit by that?
Wow, ini moom bari na rek lii daal dafa mel ni lu ñu nekk di gis ci Facebook bi ak Instagram bi yëpp dëgg la lii daal lu ñu gis moom fu mu nekk nii moom suma xarit yi suma famille yëpp fii laa yegg ñu ngi si xaalis rek ok noonu la am waa ok baax na jërëjëf.
Thank you very much, Modu. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. I thank the press for all the support during the campaign, the presidential, for the National Assembly. We are waiting for this day, the electoral cycle. Now we are voting for National Assembly members. We are very hopeful that the NPP will have the majority. Looking at the presidential election, it is a very clear indication that we will have majority in the National Assembly. But I will seize this opportunity to thank all the parties, independent candidates who have participated in this election. It's unprecedented, the numbers we have for this election. If you look at the independent candidate alone, it's about 85 candidates. It is more than all candidates who were contesting in previous National Assembly elections. That is a clear indication that Gambia have moved on. Our democracy is moving. That means the field is level, and I think that is very good going forward, because it was a transition period. Now the transition is over. We have consolidated ourselves. We have built a strong foundation. Moving forward, it is very, very, very clear. And I will call on the Gambians to come out in their numbers as the way they did in the presidential election. This is as important as the presidential election. So we call on everybody to come out and vote. Vote peacefully. Go home and listen to the results. This is my advice, and we thank the Gambian people, definitely. Yeah, the turnout is low, but it's very early. I don't think we can confirm now that the turnout will be low. Maybe in the afternoon people will come out. It is during the first month, I think the first time we are contesting, we are organizing elections during the Ramadan. And you know, the Sise Kundankas and the Walis, they are people that sometimes it will be difficult for them to come out, but we encourage all of them to come out and vote, definitely. That's what we think. It might add value, but circumstances didn't allow me to campaign within the KMC and the West Coast, as we all said, because it's not normal to campaign during Ramadan. You know, in the evening, people are ready to go and cut fast, and after cutting fast, you know, the nafila and other things, so it's difficult. So it changed. That means they change it to a house-to-house campaign. It will be very difficult for president to be involved in a house-to-house campaign because of security and other things. But despite all that, I call on my people and I make a statement, you know, to advise the people to come out and vote for the NPP. This was the message. We think that message will also relate very well with the people. bu ma voté ba pare kontaan rek laa am te maa ngi sant yàlla bu baax campagne bi def nañ ko si jàmm léegi bëgg naa nit ñi yëpp ñu voté si jàmm nit ñi génneeguñ nag foog naa suba la te weeri koor la mun naa am xëy na si kanam si bëccëgee nit ñu bari dinañ génn pour voté waaye benn affaire daal loolu jox na ma si kontaan mooy wone ne suñ démocratie mu ngi dox wone na ne système bi mu ngi fair mu ngi allow ku nekk pour mu participer because soo seetee ñu nga xam ne ñoo taxaw si élection bii mënuloo ko compare élection yu passé 85 candidates ñoo nekk independent alone soo calculé loolu si élection yu passé 85 candidates si moo ëpp sax ñu doon taxaw so loolu wone na ne nit ñi ñemeñ ne loolu wone na ne démocratie am na kon wone na ne dëkk yu rëy yi sax ñu nga xam ne dañ démocratie bu dëgër mu mel ni Amérique Angleterre tey suñ démocratie moo ko gën a dëgër because soo seetee si élection yi présidentielle 89.7 ñoo génn pour voter loolu record la si àdduna si kenn mësut a génnee noonu pour voter kon small Gambia am na record si àdduna si moom moo gën a génn pour voter kon loolu wane na ni ñun suñ démocratie mu ngi dox mu ngi dëgër am naa yaakaar ne dina am ndam soo seetee si presidential election bi nu mu demee woon loolu wane na ne président Barrow la nit ñi bëgg a àndal président Barrow mooy continuer for the next 5 years kon accompagner président Barrow foog naa ko wóoteel suma député yi loolu dina tax ba suma liggéey dafay gën a yomba te Gambia dina gën a am njëriñ si loolu kon am naa ne ñun ñooy gañ jërë ngeen jëf.
Let them come out and vote. This is their civic right. This is their civic duty. You know, they should not sit at home and say they are not going to vote because the change that they want, they are the only people who can make those changes. So sitting at home, you know, will allow the same thing to continue. Yeah, their one vote can change a lot.
Although this one is very hot, what will be your take, like accessing the turnout here?
No, the turnout is very, very poor. I think even during the programs that we did, you know, a lot of people, you know, talk about the low voter turnout, and I think it's different from the presidential election. You know, this is coupled with so many things because some people are not happy, you know, with some of the social amenities that they're supposed to, you know, have. They don't have it, you know, and then some people, you know, are not happy with the National Assembly, you know, members that they have, and some people are also fasting. So it's very difficult, you know, to assess, you know, what's really taking place. But we know that, you know, this is one of the poorest, you know, voter turnout.
Thank you, MD.
This is the presiding officer for Team 3.
As a presiding officer, since in the morning you're here, what would you like to tell us about these elections?
Anyway, I cannot talk on behalf of other station. I know only my station. Anyway, we don't encounter any problem yet. It's just that the number coming out to vote, the number is very small compared to presidential election.
Talking about the numbers, what do you think lead to the low turnout?
Yeah, maybe people, some they deem it necessary that presidential election is more important. Maybe they don't know. And maybe because of literacy. And this one, in fact, is the most important one. And at the same time, maybe the Ramadan too contribute, and maybe especially the women, some of them are maybe going to the market, preparing food or whatever. Maybe it's that.
Talking about literacy and the low turnout, don't you think civic education lacks?
Yes, yes. That one also lacks. That one also, you are quite right. It's lack a lot. Yeah.
What advice will you have for those who will sit home and say, okay, the local government election is not important or the assembly election is not important, but they give priority to the
I think what we're supposed to do is very important to be enlightening them, to be telling them the importance of local government, so that those who did not know the importance of it, so that they will know, because it's very vital. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Can you please tell us your name?
Good afternoon. My name is Tira Jete.
Tira, the presiding officer at the Joshua Bantaba here. Of course, we have seen you so far so good. What would you like to tell us about this election?
Based on the way I see it, turnout is very poor. I don't know now if it's the election, the local government people are not interested, or the fast Ramadan. I don't understand. But in the morning, few people came out, but since then now, they are coming out one after the other. After when we see one voter, then 15 or 30 minutes before the other one.
Okay, prior to the election, which time did you exactly start in your voting process?
8 o'clock AMS.
How was it like? Were all the party agents present before you started?
Only APRC was here.
But currently, is every party agent?
All the 3 parties are here.
Oh, if you have to give word for those who are sitting at home right now and then don't want to vote, what will be your message to them?
My message is now, they should know that this election is even, to me, is even important than the presidential election. Because parliamentary election, to me, is important than presidential election. So they should consider it and consider it important and come out for the votes.
How many?
Many of the youths around here, they are seeing this election as is not that important. They are not coming out to vote.
I know you were allocated with an amount of marbles. So far, how many marbles were you allocated? And then if you can just estimate it, tell us how many have been cast out, or are you in the hope that halfway of the marble will be gone?
No, right now, I can say 3/4 is 75% is here. It's only 25% is gone. Quarter of it, because 3/4 is here.
So you are telling us that...
Receive 704 from my year.
So are you telling us that compared to the presidential election, this is...
No, it's far different. Presidential election was
okay, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. We have seen you observing after casting your vote so far. What would you like to tell us about your observation since you cast vote?
Basically, what I've been observing around is the voter turnout is a bit low. So we heard that in the morning it was better, but still, people are, at home. So we are trying to advise them to come out, at least to come and cast their votes, because this is our voice. So if they come and cast, there, they will have votes in the National Assembly.
Since during your observation, have you encountered any challenges or you've gone in a police station whereby there are problems?
Basically, at the starting, it's not that the IST staff, maybe they didn't orient their guys properly. Was being a candidate, I supposed to have access to the polling compartment, of which, at the beginning it was a bit difficult. But as at now, there is no problem that we faced.
Lack of turnout. Do you think civic education was intact at least?
No. The voter education was not done properly. But even on the side of IEC, I don't think they do it. I haven't seen them. I didn't meet them outside, at least telling people the voting, there'll be National Assembly elections this particular date. And the civil educations, I know, they focus mainly on the media, of which, they need to go and rich people. So there, the people will be able to know what is happening. But to my surprise, few days before elections, you go to certain compounds, they didn't know what is happening. So the education, the information is not properly shared.
In hours time, the
Mhm.
returning officer of the IEC may declare the winner of the Joshua seat that that individual are vying you yourself with other companions. How will you term things to be? Are we expected to hear in other way around? What do you expect to hear?
No, what I'm seeing, I'm winning. Yeah, I'm winning. So I'm in next 1 hour, next 2 hours, I'll be the winner, inshallah.
What if things goes in a way around that you did not accept, since you all have the same intention of work? Will you like to work with someone that has to?
No, that will not happen. I know I will win, inshallah. Inshallah.
Communication and coordination teams, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols duly and respectfully observed. Good afternoon to you all. Waneb the Gambia, as the coordinator of both the National Elections Response Group and the Civil Society Coalition on Elections, welcome you all this afternoon to the opening of our election situation room first press briefing for the 2021 parliamentary elections. Thank you for accepting our invitation. We are most grateful. The election situation room is designed to specifically observe, report, analyze, and facilitate response to violent threats identified on prior, during, and after the elections throughout the country. The CSO Coalition and NEC, in collaboration with the National Human Rights Commission, deployed about 125 observers to hotspot areas across the length and breadth of the country. It should be noted that the deployment was informed by the mapping of hotspot area across the country that was previously carried out. The ESR is divided into data gathering decks, analysis decks, decision decks, communication, and will be operated by personnel from civil society groups, trained and assigned responsibility to deliver data, provide analysis, and quick interventions. The multifaceted ESR is a departure from the traditional election observation and is uniquely developed to support the mitigation of violent incidents through preventive diplomacy and dialogue with political actors. With political actors when required. It also focuses on strategic partnership and communication with state-operated situation rooms for quick security response. Hence, my role this afternoon is just to give the welcome remarks. Kindly allow me to quickly, on behalf of the Coalition and NEC, thank our partners, without whom it would have been very difficult to operationalize this ESR. Special thanks goes to the ECOWAS Permanent Mission in the Gambia for being the main funder of today's this situation room. Many thanks also to international ideas. They supported the majority of observers. And we would also like to thank the government of Italy through the UNDP, who have been supporting the various engagements of the National Election Response Group in the forms of town hall meetings and long-term observers. So on that note, I wish to thank you very much, and thanks for your kind attention.
I think we have less than 50. Even those who are contesting themselves are not here to come and cast their vote. They gis naa ne yaa ngi am huge amount of marble yi nga xam te ne loolu ngeen pour cast out. Compared to the presidential election, marble yu leen deseloon, it was minimal. But are you expecting that, okay, marble yi dina xaala tane? No. Ni mel ni azad now ni di trend bi ni moo demee nii ñu ngi ma joxoon 752 tokens. That's marble. But out of these 752, you could say it's about 33 male and then 48 female that appears as of now. As we are talking, new appear in my center here, Stream 3 in Bundum Mosque. Wow, ban jangal la mëna wax nga xamantene moy election bi la mo woné nit yi dañ ko jappalul li nga xamantene dafa am jëriñ wala? No, dan xamul the difference between the president presidential election and then this parliamentary election. Okay, hold on.
candidates that are independent candidates, and 19 of them, 19 of the 251 are women. 19 women candidates contesting. In addition, we have one candidate with disability. I must say that having 19 women is a great leap, but not necessarily what we are aiming at. We're aiming for more. We have preliminary observations thus far. And I must say thus far because this is the first press conference, and we are still working on the issues and situations as we get them. So far, we must say that generally the campaign period and activities were very peaceful. So far, peaceful. To the impartial role of the Inter-Party Committee, the IPC, in coordinating the relationship and serving as a dialogue platform among political parties. 3, the judiciary continue to play a crucial role in the electoral process. For example, one of the rejected candidates for UNDP filed petition at High Court, which went through due process and was eventually dismissed. For the IEC is giving priority to persons with disability, pregnant, and nursing mother for voting, which is greatly welcomed. In terms of recommendation, then we have an issue that generally citizens did not attend to COVID protocols during the nomination process and campaign period, as well as voting. The protocol of COVID is still alive, but unfortunately it was not fully adhered to. Generally, there has been balanced media coverage of the political processes in the mainstream media. This, I think, we take with great appreciation. The election is being observed by a high number of domestic and international election observers missions. This is expected to contribute to enhance the credibility of the electoral process. In terms of preliminary recommendations, 1, the IEC, political parties, and the general public should ensure strict compliance with the COVID-19 protocols during the voting to prevent an incident or increase in cases after the election. 2, the IEC and the Gambia Police Force should uphold the principle of neutrality, impartiality, and professionalism in the discharge of their duties and respect for human rights. 3, political parties and supporters are encouraged to maintain law and order to ensure that all eligible voters are able to exercise their fundamental rights. 4, IEC to ensure that all internally displaced and eligible voters are able to exercise their rights to vote. 5, the Gambia Press Union should advise its members to respect the ethics of journalism and refrain from disseminating any information that could escalate tension. 6, the general public is encouraged to verify before sharing any information on social media or other platforms. 7, the IEC should keep frequent communication flow with the general public at all levels throughout the electoral process. And 8, political actors should observe the provision of the electoral laws, the code of conduct of political parties, and the voluntary code of conduct. Conclusion. We call on all stakeholders to be tolerant of the electoral process and each other, True to the ideals of peace and social cohesion, the ESR is committed to observing the ethics, integrity, and transparency of the electoral process in order to contribute to the prevention of violence and human rights violation. The ESR will make public its preliminary statement on Sunday, December 5th, 2022, and a general report at the end of the electoral process. Finally, we recognize the support we've obtained from donors and partners, and we, as you can see here, is a complete team of actors who are committed to ensuring peaceful and credible election. I thank you all.
Yeah, well, good afternoon, sir. What would you like to tell us about this election since you have casted your vote and of course you are vying for the seat?
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. We cast our vote in the morning at Old Joshua. I'm here at Ibota and going down my polling stations to see my agents around, and then trying to look at the turnout of the polls. So Alhamdulillah, we were waiting for this day today, and then today is the day we are already here, hoping to be called the winner at the end of the day.
Well, you have been observing and of course going around the poll. Are you impressed with the turnout or?
No, the turnout, to be honest with you, it's not good. It's not the least good, because I thought it is in the month of Ramadan. Some people when they do the early morning food, and then from there they go back to bed. So to see them is very difficult. The sun these days is very, very hot. So, but we are seeing some are still coming. People are coming one by one. And this is coming up. It's coming up, inshallah. Maybe before 5 we will see a better turnout.
Okay. Don't you think the low turnouts have to do with civic education, people to know about the importance of the?
Yeah, that's very key, because people, if you some people are not aware that there would have been election today. Many people were not aware. Maybe yesterday when we were doing our door-to-door, our last day doing our door-to-doors, we have to try to tell the people that it's on Saturday. But some will ask you when if you say so, they say no, we are not aware, even today. So the message was lacking. They have to sensitize the people and then make it a company for people to aware that election is coming up as they were doing the presidential. Because National Assembly, the coverage is very, very bad, to be honest.
You have cast your vote, so goes to your component that are vying for the just one seat. Come in the evening or in the time the returning officer will declare the winner. Are you expected to hear you Sirif or?
Yeah, Sirif, inshallah. It will be Sirif.
Okay, in time of this election, you have looked and won, and of course you are all aim for a one seat, and of course others intend to be on one goal, that is to develop those of presidency. What in case you lose, how will you take it, and would you like to work with those?
For me, if you know, of somebody who is working for the community. I started for 5 years without involving myself in election, but yes, still I was helping, and I continue helping. That's for me. That's me. This seat is not something that I feel that if I don't have it, it's at the end of the world. I'm the CEO of SAR Construction Group. I have my company. I have my own profession. I'm doing my own work. So with this, without this, I'm going. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, my brother.
Anyways, it is my opinion that UDP had the majority seats in Parliament the 5th legislature, 31 or thereabout. And it is my also belief and opinion that that was achieved through the influence of President Barrow, then, who went all around the country and campaigned, and you guys won, and he gave you money. And President Barrow saw that it worked that time. They got the majority. He is using the same tricks to do it this time around so that he can achieve the same majority seats in Parliament. Nothing else. That's what he wants, because he is of the belief that he can only do what he wants to do, or he can only work if he has the majority seats in Parliament, which is a first, because at the end of the day, I, Nene Frida Gomez, I am there for the people. My constituency members are going to elect me. But when I get in that house, I represent Gambia, the entire Gambian, because everything that I do there, whether a law, whatever, is for the best, should be for the best interest of Gambians. So it's not NPP, it's not UDP, it's not Citizens Alliance. So if that is the case, I do not see any reason why the executive or anybody should bring anything that serves the interest of the people. Just because the person is not from the same party with me, I will say no to it. That is irresponsible for anybody, that is ignorant, that is myopic-minded for anybody to do. And I am not anything of that sort. I will support anything that serves the interest of the people. So that's what Barrow needs to think about. Not majority, but try to encourage and canvas for everybody, every member, especially women, so that they can get in that parliament and serve the Gambian people, not thinking that he needs the majority people. So for me, Barrow going out campaigning on our own tax money, the Gambian people, on the resources of the country, the state, just for his own people, for me it is careless, it is remorseless, it is tactless, and it is just not right. It is outright wrong. And every level-headed person, every citizen need to condemn that. And the next legislature, the 6th legislature, need to ensure that we regularize these such acts and make sure it doesn't happen. Because if we don't do it at the parliament, it is going to continue, and anybody else that has the power in their hands are going to use state resources, state machinery to the detriment, to the disadvantage of other people. And that's what we need to say no to, which he was in the House, never advocated for that to stop, or never did anything else for that to stop. And now you're talking about, I will talk about I will push for new things. We talked about the election, the Public Order Act, which they are a victim of, him and his party. For me, the first thing that UDP should have advocated for in that House, in this legislature, 5 years and you've not been achieved for me, it's a complete failure to advocate for that thing to be out of our laws. And they are still continuing to be a victim of such. I mean, you come and tell me I will advocate for new things, when things that really suppress you, you cried, you went to jail, you did not work hard to remove that. There were so many things that they were a victim of, they did not advocate for. You're talking about new things that you will push and advocate for. Voters need to really listen and look about the character of the people, what they said, what they're saying, and who they are before you even choose them.
What's your take on that? What's your take on that?
Unfortunately, she is ignorant in that area. When you are pushing for laws,
I take it with a good light.
Of course, if you are making laws, for example, lawmaking comes in 2 ways. Government can bring bills, and it can be by way of amendments, but private members can also come with bills and go ahead with it. So this particular public act that she is talking about has been a subject of discussion in the parliament. But what she fails to understand is, parliament is all about numbers. And when we say numbers, it's not like any number. You have certain bills, amendments that you can do with just simple majority. You have certain amendments that have to be done with a quarter. So if that is asked, even if you are 31 or 25, you are majority, but know that the other side are more than you. In the draft constitution, only 17 voted against it, and it never passed. So these are some of the things people who want to be members of parliament should know. Not that anything you push as a member of parliament, it should happen. That UDP should have changed that. Yes, we left us alone, we will change it.
I strongly believe that could have been changed, because in 2017, when you guys were sworn in, let's seek clarity. In 2017, when they were sworn in, the marriage was still sweet. Anything that they tell Barrow, it will happen. They were all in unison. The only division there was APRC, who were still angry that the supreme being was booted out of the country, and then you have the other people, because they were still in a coalition. How to call it, NRP, everybody else, apart from the APRC and the GDC now. And those were the minority. So let's say, if everybody else at that time, for me, the first thing they did was to change the age limit. And they all agreed and changed it. All right? The other thing they did was to remove that clause that say if you are expelled from your party, you still will not lose your seat. And they all passed it. This was something that if they had brought it in, it was going to pass without any... this
thing was tabled.
My belief is, they fought, but when they came into power and got the power, they thought they could use the same thing to oppress other people, but then things turned against them. That's the honest truth, and we need to accept. This is about being honest to ourselves.
I think the people of Serekunda West should really look at who they want to elect into that position.
Of course,
I wish they should know it. Because
Honorable, allow me.
We're talking about a better representation. What has Mahdi done? Because he is confident here, saying, well, he has done great for the people of Serekunda. I live in Serekunda. That's where I was born born, I grew up there. I know the place very well. I only knew about Madi when I had the interest to contest.
Oh, you don't go to people's funerals?
Before,
you don't
hang
go
on,
to
hang on.
prison ceremonies?
Hang on.
I have to go to every funeral.
Hang on. I only knew about.
She should have
How
seen
come
you.
she did not know me?
She should have seen you in one of them.
During the last election, where was he?
All right, don't you worry, we'll come to that.
No, when I not see you, I've seen you during.
You only come to
Exactly, to know you. But I've seen you
When the
around
election.
because he was a candidate.
Yeah.
So I've seen him as a UDP candidate because I was like part and parcel of the coalition in 2016, 2017. I distanced myself prior to the National Assembly election when all of them started shooting themselves. All of them started speaking from both sides of their mouth, deviating from the coalition agenda. That's not my character. That's not the kind of person I am. So I distanced myself from the coalition because I know that they've started reneging on every promise. The reason why I left my job to come on board and contribute my quota. So I went away, right? So now I have been seeing Madi, all right? But it's not any kind of a saying that it's worth me paying attention to Madi. But when I had the interview, when people started coming to me, the calls started coming that they wanted me to represent them. I started thinking about it. So when I made up my mind, even before announcing, that's when I said I needed to know who this Madi Cisse is. Because everybody you ask, who is the National Assemblyman? I don't know. Or I think he's called Madi Cisse. Or he is from UDP. That's what I hear a lot. So I was like, I want to know who is this Madi. Ask him. I went to the National Assembly.
Absolutely right. People can say that because
No,
not
but
everybody
hold
has
on.
voted for me.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's fine.
But you are representing everybody in the
Yes,
constituency,
that's why
whether they vote for you or not.
In your Latrikunda, where you are born and bred up, I have been there several times.
All right.
So, but let me finish up. Allow me to finish.
Let's have some sanity.
Yes.
Let's have some sanity.
Yeah, let me just finish my point.
I'll come to you on that.
So what I did was I went to the National Assembly and asked for him and reach out to him and say, I am this person or whatever. Then that's when I really captured Madi's face and knew, oh, this is Madi Cisse. This is the National Assembly member for Serekunda West, where I live. And that's when I started to know who this person is. Otherwise, I hear the name, and everybody else don't know it. But then, just the reason why I'm bringing that is to tell Madi that if really he had been that representation to the people of Serekunda West, I think I wouldn't have been brought forward exactly to contest against him. But then again, I want the people of Serekunda West to also think twice and think back. 5 years of Madi's representation. And I remember earlier on I said, we need to sanitize that National Assembly. We need to restore sanity in there. What that National Assembly needs is people who are honest, people who have good character, people who have good standing, people who have integrity, people who really submerge themselves to the service of the people, not self-serving individual. That's what representation means. And that is, I can boldly stand here and say Serekunda West lacked it, and that's why they came yearning, calling for me to come up and represent them in that National Assembly. And if that's what they're looking for, honestly, with all due respect, that's not what we got in Madi for the past 5 years. And obviously, they wouldn't have been falling. And obviously, a delegation wouldn't have gone to Madi, people that really supported him in the past 5 years in 2017 and said to him, we will not canvass for you, we will not support you because you are not a sellable candidate, you are not a viable candidate. People who are supposed to be supporting him, they wouldn't have done that. So let's look at ourselves again.
This is what I expect from her.
Yes,
she does not belong to me, my party. And she has been living in Serekunda West for 5 years of my tenure, and she says she doesn't know me. Maybe I should go to his house and say, here I am.
I would have been happy.
Yes, but I have done that for many people. So she should understand, and people who are looking at her will understand that Serekunda West, like any other constituency, are big. And we are second largest. We have over 60,000 registered voters. And if you look at the people who live within Serekunda West, I can bet that we are more than 200,000 people. So if who is looking for being the representative of Serekunda West in the person of Nene Fredaus is saying that I should be known by everybody in Serekunda West. That is just cheap politics. That is cheap politics. It is not practically possible for every representative to go.
Now Madi is saying it's not good to have the majority seat. Like you said, UDP had majority seat in 2017 until it's about to close. But then the issue of majority seats is not good in parliament was not a question. So let's not bring it as a question right now. Let's not bring it as an issue right now.
We're talking about a government, talking about a president that has a majority of members of parliament. That's what we are talking about. You cannot tell me that in the past, yes, there's a fact that we had the majority. We had 31-6 before. We majority. It was not a UDP government. That's what I'm trying to say.
This medium heard a statement that Barrow wants to hijack the UDP, meaning the UDP was in the forefront of this very government before this election. The coalition was a UDP in disguise-led government.
That's your opinion. Okay. What we know is 3 or 4 political parties.
That's my opinion.
No, that's your opinion. What the fact is, political parties vied for the position at the Senegal Caraba Hotel, and out of them, the candidate that UDP put up won. Halifa went for it, Ahmad Ba went for it, Dr. Bojan went for it, and Adam Barrow went for the UDP. All of them went for their parties. When we won it, the condition is you have to resign from your party. I am not part of, I'm not the architect of it, but she said she had been part and parcel of it. I've never attended any of their meetings.
Followed it.
Yes.
We all followed it.
So you cannot come here after that procedure was followed. Our candidate won, and he wrote his letter and resigned from our party. You cannot tell us that he is a UDP government. But
what happened to the stadium? Barrow is our Barrow. Come rain, come shine. Only a boss eye will see anything happen between us and Barrow. What happened to that?
Is that coming from the executive of the UDP?
From Uncle Isanudabo.
Militants can say it.
No, not from militants.
Honorable.
Yes.
We all have eyes and ears. We heard who said Barrow is our Barrow.
Look, the fact of the matter here is Malik. Barrow was leading a coalition government.
Barrow was your Barrow.
He was our candidate. We put it up.
He was
the
your
coalition conditions was that he should resign. And what I tell people is, if you, Malik Jones, should go with me and her, and we say anybody who wins, you resign from your home. Now you won. You resign from your home. So you've taken away the Jones from you. That's the only connection. The only connection was he was a member of the UDP and he wrote and resigned. If you and Nene wants to make him UDP, make him UDP. Period. But I'm saying that no, he was leading a coalition government. Whether the coalition has failed or not, he was leading a coalition government, not a UDP government.
Okay, Mari, we'll let it to rest.
But can I land?
Please go ahead.
Yes, exactly.
No, you can take off.
Exactly. For me, the issue is not whether Barrow was a UDP member or resigned or whatever. That's really water under the bridge. It's besides the point. It really does not make anything here. But then the point here is you making this comment that, okay, it was okay for UDP to have a majority seat, 31 or so thereabout in government.
No,
I mean UDP.
When we say majority, the question that comes from you is whether we should give majority seats to Barrow on a NPP government. You cannot bring that together with UDP. UDP has never been the head of this government.
When the coalition, wait a minute,
government.
After the presidential election, there was National Assembly elections and UDP stood on its own.
Of course, yes. Parliament was contested on the partisan line. Purely, that's why
thereby
we won our seats on our ticket as
thereby
UDP.
breaking the rules of the game.
Who said that?
Yes,
what was the rule? What was the rule? That we should contest as independent?
I will.
Is that the rule? Is that the rule?
You are ignorant of the rules. I will invite Halifa Saleh one day to throw light on the coalition.
We said we will contest on.
Can Mahdi allow me to talk? It's my turn to talk.
We'll leave that.
No, you want to ask a question. He's saying the rule. Well,
yes,
was he the chairman of the
No. These things are all there. These things are all there in black and white.
Too biased, always.
Na.
Mbona tole kata amaso.
Ay kata amaso.
De paso.
Ayo. Do ni mutu.
Musa bari ati sila de.
Kema fulani sila munani.
Tulo bantale mano banda.
Bari man sila siyo funde ni mano bande sa funya.
Kilo le bota.
Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam ba.
Bare.
Kodo kiyena ne yuna yamo.
Minto yona.
Africa Global brings you state-of-the-art commercial and retail spaces available for rent at Madiba Mall, located at the Proofwood Gardens Estate. Our commercial spaces comes with facilities such as 24-hour security, standby backup generator, air conditioning, shared conference room, and personal cash pour meters. If you are looking for a spacious and suitable business environment, look no further. Madiba Mall retail and commercial spaces are just what you need. Ocean view office spaces with limited availability. Call us today and secure a space. For more information, contact 733-3363 or 594-1053 or email at info@tapafricaglobal.com.
Are you looking for
And of course, a heated debate there between Nene Freda Gomez and Honorable Mani Sise. That's a constituency that we have to keep an eye on, because from their perspective, both of them, I think Nene seem to have an edge over Mahdi there by not only telling Mahdi that people don't know him in the constituency, and he hasn't contributed much in the constituency, and that is why people have called upon her to come and stand and be voted for. Well, we'll have to see the outcome of that. That is going to be an interesting constituency to watch out for, Gano, and of course Mr. Kamara as well. So also another interesting place to watch out is Serekunda, which has been vacated by the Honorable Halifa Saleh. Banjul continues to be an area we want to see. APRC are putting up a candidate in Jeswan. That's also a candidate we have to watch him. Let me hear your thoughts on these constituencies.
It's going to be very, very, very interesting, Malik. Very interesting, because apart from those 3 or 4 constituencies you just mentioned, another one which will be very interesting will be Busumbala constituency.
And Sanementre.
But Busumbala, for the reason being the Sabali effect, you know, what would happen now that Sabali is not there and he have thrown his weight behind one of the independent? Would it work the independent way, or would the NPP do everything humanly possible to ensure they didn't get that seat? So that will be another interesting one. And also the Wule, you remember that's where my Fadi, Sidia, and of course that's the backyard of the president, URR, and knowing what URR mean to the president, would NPP allow others like other parties or independent winning seat there? So that will be interesting. And another thing that we forgot, Malik, is Jimara. If I'm right, Jimara, the incumbent is GDC.
Yes.
So that is their seat. And at some point, the Mama Kande even won that seat. I mean, during the first presidential election when Jame was here.
Absolutely. I mean, 2006. Barrow stood against GDC and Mama Kande. And Mama Kande whopped him up.
So that is supposed to be Mama Kande's seat. So what happened? Would he retain the seat, or would NPP take the seat from him? So that will be a must watch the country. And lastly, How about our own Yakumba? You remember Yakumba Jaite, you know, being at some point expelled from the parliament, and she went to court, won the case, and she came back to the parliament. Okay, she finished as we speak. She was a nominated member. Now she is testing the waters, and I think. Is it no? That's not. That's Serkunda Central.
Serkunda Central. That's
no, Serkunda. Is it Serkunda or which one is her constituency?
Yeah, Kumba Jaite should be in Serkunda.
I always get confused with this Serkunda Central and.
She's in Serkunda.
That is Halifa's place.
Yes, that's Halifa's place.
Okay,
that's where she is.
That's going to be very interesting because that is where we say we will want to see whether the Halifa effect or the Doi effect, you know, because people assume when you say Serkunda, we say Halifa. Was the people of Serkunda owe their allegiance to Halifa or to Doi? Now that Halifa is not in the ballot box, okay, would the next Doi candidate who is struggling to get his name?
Musa Cham.
And Musa Cham was the councillor, let's remember that, and he's a very, very popular guy with his people. So would Musa step up and just take Halifa's seat, or would Yakumba, who is very, very famous and the young lady, would he retain, would he take the seat? So Serkunda is another area that we should watch closely.
All right, you have just mentioned Serkunda and Halifa Sallah. Let us profile Halifa Sallah. Halifa Sallah was one of the co-founders of DOI way back in 1986. In 1987, he was the Secretary General of DOI, and they started this newsletter called the Foroya newspaper, Foroya, which has come up to be one of the most progressive newspapers around. Actually, he contested the elections in the Fourth Republic in 1987 and also in 1992 and got only less than 10% of the votes. That was in the Jawara regime. In the Second Republic in 1997, he was unsuccessful in his bid, but instead, and then he stood for Serkunda Central in 2002, where he won and became the minority leader in the National Assembly. Now he joined during that time in 2007. Then they joined NAD, and he lost his seat in the National Assembly, and but went for the presidential elections in 2006 and came up third in the elections with 5.98% of the votes. In 2007, he lost the seat to this guy, Seni Jaite
of APRC.
Of the APRC. Yeah. It was not until August 2017 that Halifa, when they changed the constituency to Serkunda, that he won the constituency in 2017 up to the time of his resignation. But in 2021, he emerged again as presidential candidate for the PDOIS and came, I think, fourth in the race. Yeah. So that's the Halifa Sallah. That's the guy who will take calmly and coolly and try to democratize the whole situation. He will want to go to point A, but before he reaches to point A, he will travel all the way to A to Z and then turns around and come back to point A. Try to give you an elaborate picture of whatever the scenario is that he wanted to say. I mean, that is the Halifa Sallah that I know. I know Halifa Sallah when I was at Radio Gambia. He used to come as a psychologist. He used to come to talk in a program called Magi Eleg, which was hosted by Asanjai. Then I was just a rookie at Radio Gambia in my formative years at Radio Gambia. That's the Halifa Sallah, respectable guy. In the good books of the of the United States, by the way, very good. He's got a good resume with the U.S. Embassy here in the Gambia. All the ambassadors that have come to the Gambia have said quite well about Halifa Saleh and how he is a Democrat and how he will be a good friend of the U.S. government as a Democrat.
And I think he was mentioned, I could be corrected on this, in those leak U.S. cables.
WikiLeaks. Yes.
WikiLeaks, yes.
That was Ambassador Patricia Aslock.
Yeah,
he was revealed by WikiLeaks.
Mentioned there.
Yes, he was mentioned that if he becomes president, he will be a good ally of the U.S.
Yes. So meaning Khalifa's credentials, I think Malik, I should not say every Gambian, most Gambians agree, Khalifa is a perfect gentleman. And he is what Gambia is all about. That is the patient type, and he's eloquent with his area of specialty.
He's got his own aura,
and he is somebody also who have a huge connection with the young people of the Gambia. I remember even when we were growing up.
I think you should not go far. Next door to you is Kausu Baji. Kausu is very close to Khalifa.
Okay.
And Kausu, I think Khalifa is Kausu's mentor.
Absolutely. Okay, Malik, let us not make this debate about Khalifa. But anyway, the good thing is, I think we can comfortably talk about Khalifa, Sarah, because he have retired.
Absolutely.
Honorably. So he is not somebody who is on the ballot box. If he was, I think we would have been fair and give respect to other candidates.
Because he's somebody whose people love. He's somebody that people look up to, but they won't give him the presidency. And I think that is among the main reasons why he retires.
Will his legacy remain in the candidate that is standing now to win? Will that prove his legacy?
Yes.
So that's Serekunda which we have to watch out now.
Yeah, that's the reason why I say Serekunda would be very interested. With Khalifa, with all the things we just talked about him, now the Doi candidate there, would the people of Serekunda delo njukal to Khalifa? You understand? Or would they say no? Yakumba also is a young person coming up and see
the woman's card.
Woman card. Would she also play that very, very well? You understand? So this is a very interesting constituency that we should be watching. To me, the three biggest, if you should ask me, I would say is Serekunda, the Khalifa Serekunda, the West, the Wuli, Serekunda West, and of course Busumbala. These are the four I would definitely.
Sarah, you want to add a word in before we translate to the
I just want to emphasize on the last parliamentary election, looking at Serekunda West. We know Serekunda West, last parliamentary election, we have the APRC, GDC, we have DOI, two independent candidates, we also have PPP, and then we have UDP. And then the number of votes, if you look at the number of votes that we have at Serekunda West, it was 14,664. And now we have Serekunda West, Nene Frida, Modu Jain of GDC, and then we have NPP, Mustafa Low, we have Doi Fatou Sow, UDP, Mahdi MK and we have an independent candidate. So it's going to be a tough battle. We've just, have the debate, between Nene Frida and Mahdi, which was very, very tense. Will the people of, Serekunda still now trust, Mahdi, to give him the vote? Because we've also seen Mahdi's own people, initially, Mahdi came and said, okay, I am withdrawing, I am not going to stand, simply because, my people said, they went around, they asked, and then they said, people, I'm not that much connected to the people, to which, on Mahdi's opinion, he said that is fake. He did not believe in that, but yet still he accepted the decision of the committee. Then he turned around. He said at executive level, they've discussed and then they decided to maintain him. So the question was it actually, what happens on the ground is Mahdi connected to the people of Serekunda West? We will see it in this presidential election. Is he going to prove wrong? to the committee that said, well, Serekunda West people don't trust him anymore.
Well, it's one
would that be
also.
Your question is Mahdi a winning candidate?
Yeah, it's for UDP.
And he mentioned one thing, Mahdi, before you continue. I would ask. He said Mahdi turn around. What happened to SFR? Mr. Turnaround. Did he sponsor any candidate?
I don't think he did.
No, he didn't.
I think
he didn't. Among all the candidates that contested for the presidential, he is the only one that didn't put up a candidate. Yeah. And then probably because he's also the only independent. Because NUP put up 4 candidates, PDOS did, and all other political parties as well did.
ESA is done and dusted with Gambian politics, I should think so. But Bantu Serekunda West is the only constituency that 2 women are standing and against each other.
Yes.
That is sad.
Yeah, that is interesting also. Fatu Sow is
4 male against 2 women.
2 women, yeah.
2 women fighting each other.
That is Doi. That is Fatu Sow.
Of CA.
Filda Gomez of CA. Yeah. So that's going to be very interesting in a sense. What happened to the women votes? You know, if you have 4 men, 2 women, and
an incumbent.
An incumbent, yeah, one of the incumbent, which according to the debate we just watched some couple of minutes ago, Nene trying to prove to Mahdi that he's not connected to the people.
Yeah,
okay,
he's not sellable.
He's not a sellable candidate. So is that true? We will know in a couple of hours or minutes, if not. But also, is Nene the only female candidate? If you want to play the female card, there's another female there, Fat Sow, and also who is also from Doi, and Doi is also the Halifa effect could spill over, you know, because Halifa is not only popular in Serekunda, but the entire municipality. I think the whole of KMC, or kind of a municipality, not KMC. KMC means the council, but the municipality, you know. So the Halifa is a very, very respectable person. Would the Halifa effect spilled over? So this is also an area that we should watch closely.
All right, we will watch that all closely when we come back. We have Lau Kausu and his team who will break down almost entirely everything that we have been able to talk about here in the local languages, because we know we have a huge multitude following us. We'll be right back after Kausu and his team. Take a break right now.
Visit or contact Islamic Products whilst promoting transparency and fairness.
We at West Africa Takaful are wishing you a beloved nation Ramadan Mubarak.
West Africa Takaful, truly Islamic.
Okay, Fatu, you got my $100 you got appreciate for coming and like we could you municipal has like 10,000 above, nega Western Union, MoneyGram, we are a small world, then they make the next $100 it depends on the amount you see, depending on $100,000 from 10,000 above. So appreciate that, thank you for coming. You never credit by that.
Wow, you remember the yi daal dafa mel ni lu ñu nekk di gis ci Facebook bi ak Instagram yëpp dëgg la yi daal lu ñu gis moom fu mu nekk nii moom suma xarit yi suma famille yëpp fii laa leen di gis ci xaalis rek ok noonu la waaw ok baax na jërëjëf.
Na.
Mbona tolenga kama sio?
Ay, kaya marso.
De paso.
Ayo. Do ni mutu.
Sabari nying atu sila de.
Kema fulani sila munen.
Tulo banta le mano banda.
Bari man sene so funde ni mano bande sa fonye.
Kilo le bota.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam ba.
Bare.
Wa ko do kiyena ne yuna yamoy.
Min do yona.
Africa Global brings you state-of-the-art commercial and retail spaces available for rent at Madiba Mall, located at the Proofwood Gardens Estate. Our commercial spaces comes with facilities such as 24-hour security, standby backup generator, air conditioning, shared conference room, and personal cash pour meters. If you are looking for a spacious and suitable business environment, look no further. Madiba Mall retail and commercial spaces are just what you need. Ocean View office spaces with limited availability. Call us today and secure a space. For more information, contact 733-3363 or 594-1053 or email at info@tapafricaglobal.com.